I got my board here. It's a rabbit hole board. This is a friend of mine. His name is Jisan. We went to college together. He started a board brand. It's out of LA. Check him out. And then I got all my friends and families, companies, and people that I support, slap my stickers on there. So I always do my sticker job first, just because it's something to kind of play with and it's fun to nerd out as you watch TV or do whatever you're doing at home. I got my grip tape here. I'm kind of an all black grip guy. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of clear on the front and then let the color, the veneer of the board pop out. I don't have any clear at the moment. So we've got some grizzly grip that I got from my friend Twan here. Classic bear cutout. For this particular grip job, I'm not gonna go traditional. I wanna give it a little bit of my own flavor. So I'm gonna play with a line going diagonal down the board. So I want something like this. So I wanna make sure that the bear gets all the way on there. So the edge is right about there. And I wanna make sure I'm covering my tail there. I'm gonna put a firm grip onto this, spin it around, and I'm gonna trace this edge with a Sharpie just so I know where to cut and how much excess I'm working with. All right, so I got a line there. This, I wanna cut a little bit on that side just so I have some more room to work with. So I'm gonna start off by cutting this. I don't have to use a blade, so I'm just gonna use some scissors here. And like I said, just a little bit on the outside of this line. And if you're a fan of having a line down your board, this same technique can be used for the center, or you can go more extreme and piece in the grip after. But this is just kind of like a helpful little trick and tip to be able to put a line straight down your board. So now I have my excess here, and there's definitely enough to achieve some kind of line. So first I'm gonna throw this one down. This particular grip is not perforated. Perforated means it has a bunch of little tiny holes so that you have less likelihood and virtually no likelihood of getting air bubbles. So not all grip is perforated. If it's not, no big deal. The techniques I'm gonna show you in this video will show you ways to avoid getting air bubbles. So I'm gonna start by taking it off on one end. I know some people will take off part of it, plant it, and then peel as they're applying. I'm kind of a fan of just going for it all at once. Just rip all this paper off. All right, so I got my piece here ready to put down. I'm gonna pop out the bear right now. And the reason that I'm gonna pop out the bear right now is I wanna put a sticker behind where he goes. So there he is, a little souvenir. So I'm just gonna kind of get a rough idea of where I want this sticker to go. So it's somewhere right in this zone. So I have a sticker that I'm gonna use, throw on the background. It's a little happy hour sticker. And you can either plant it on the board or you can just line it up beforehand on here. So I'm just gonna find a nice spot for him. Yeah, we'll put the girl in there. All right, so I got my Mr. Pineapple in there. So I'm gonna start with the thin part first. So you get that there. Hold the rest up, just let it stick to your finger, and then as you're putting it down, apply pressure. Sometimes as you're doing this, you might see it start to raise right there. So just kind of be weary of the grip going down completely and perfectly flat. And just pat, 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 pat. All right, so now that it's all on there, I'm just gonna press it down, make sure it all stuck. I'm gonna kind of like run my fingers over it and make sure I don't feel any air bubbles, which I don't. Press down this area since I have kind of two stickers going on. All right, so that's good, that's on there. Now I'm gonna put my other piece on. So I'm gonna do the same thing, I'm gonna peel it all at once. I'm gonna start with the thin zone and then I'm gonna apply pressure as I'm putting it down to the rest. For this gap, I'm gonna go like really small, like 1/8 of an inch, just enough to see the color. Sometimes if I go wider than that, it kind of messes with me in my head and I'll feel like it's gonna guide my foot a different direction on a flick, which it probably doesn't. It's probably just all in my head. All right, so I'm gonna peel all this away, hold it out here, just gonna kind of like size it up before. So I'm just gonna start with that edge right there. And so my hands and my brain are kind of doing two things right here because I'm worried about this line being consistent, but I'm also worried about putting down the grip tape evenly to avoid air bubbles. And you can kind of mess up a little bit. There's no issue. If you don't like it, you can sort of pull up and put it back down. Try not to do it too many times though, because it will lose its stick a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna like pretty much focus on my line for now, and then I'll come back to patting it all out. All right, so it's pretty much down. I'm committing at this point. But since I didn't see any like kinks or bubbles or anything weird as I was putting it down, I'm pretty confident that it will go down flat. I think Mob makes a roller. It's pretty much a skateboard wheel on a little handle, so you can like roll out all these areas of concave rather than getting your fingers all scuffed up and gritty. But we're not using that. All right, so all my grip tape is down. It's flat on the board, it feels good. My line is pretty consistent, about 1/8 of an inch all the way through, so I like that. Now I'm ready to scribe the edges so that I know where to cut. For that, I usually just use the backside of a skate tool. But yeah, I'm gonna use the back of this, and I'm just gonna rub here. I'm gonna press kind of hard. You can't really overdo it. Really, the harder you push, the more you're scribing the grip tape, and it's gonna actually cut easier. So I'm gonna go kind of hard on this part. And for this portion of rubbing out the edges as well as cutting, don't do this like on your mom's couch or anywhere where like somebody's gonna get mad at all the little sandpaper debris that sort of comes off. Next, I'm gonna just peel my edges up. The reason for this, when you're cutting, you want your blade to sort of be angled like that. And if this is peeled over too much, the stickiness of the bottom of the grip tape is gonna catch the bottom of your blade. So it kind of helps to just flare all of this up. And I'll usually just focus on like one section at a time. So for this part, I'm gonna focus on cutting from here around to there. So I'm peeling all this up just a little bit so I know exactly where to cut. Feels good. And for this part, I like to usually be standing and I hang the edge of the board off of whatever surface I'm working on. Definitely have a clean, fresh, new razor blade if you can, or have access to one. It'll make your life way easier and the grip job will just come out that much cleaner. So that's where I'm gonna start it. And once it's in there, pretty much just commit. It's one of those things, if you try to go slow and finesse it, you're not gonna get as clean of a line. But if you just like lock the angle of this and pull straight and kind of use the edge of your board as the guide, you're gonna get the cleanest cut. So I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna kind of hold this, cut right through that sticker, right about there. And now for this part, I'm gonna hang the tail of my board out here. I'm gonna kind of reach around like this, and same thing. I want that angle, and I'm gonna use the edge of the board as my guide, so the blade is like that. And we're just committing all the way around, one fluid motion. Cut till that point, boom. So there is like a perfect, clean cut. There's no squiggles or jagged edges or anything. So that is just about as perfect as you can get cutting around. Now I'm gonna continue with the rest of it. Same thing, hang this edge, get the blade right in there. This, I guess I needed to flare up a little bit more. So I'm gonna do that with the blade. Kind of cut it close on this overhang. So that's one piece. Flare this little edge up, because I'm pretty much gonna be cutting right there. Like I'm leaving the whitish gray line exposed. Pull all this up, just like that. Get my blade going. Again, I'm gonna go until it starts to curve. I'll stop right there, hang my nose, get that blade back in there, angle. All right, so at this point, I want to clean up my edges because when I did all that pulling and flaring of the grip, if you look ever so slightly, the edges they're not all the way down. So to prevent the grip from peeling and getting caught on things over time and dragging on the ground and all the things that are gonna happen as you skate and abuse your board, it's really important to sand over the edges. So just take a piece of leftover grip tape like this and just hit the edges. Areas like this where the grip tape meets and it's thin, those are really important to sand down because those are going to want to come up more than anything. So this part, you don't want to do too much, but you definitely want to do enough to where when you feel the edges, it feels all as one, where it just rounds right over the edge of the board. And then I have some friends that at this point of gripping their board, they might sand a little bit of their grip tape if it's too grippy. A lot of grip companies now offer different grits. So like with Mob, for example, there's M80, where the M80 isn't as grippy as their regular Mob is. But anyhow, some people, you know, this is the tail, this is my tail. So I know that I'm gonna be flicking off right here. So for the flick point, they might sand a little bit just so their shoe is less likely to like stick when they're flipping the board. I usually don't do that, but you can if you want and you feel like when you do your kick flips, the board is catching your toe. So at this point, it's pretty much done. I'm gonna wanna poke my holes now. So for that, just use like a little screwdriver. Poke, wiggle around, poke it, wiggle around, wiggle around. The skate shop I grew up at, I remember the owner's son, I think he would give you stickers or a t-shirt or something if you could like guess exactly where it was when there's no holes. So you'd be like, all right, no. But yeah, just something stupid you can do. So after these are poked all through, on the other side, if you go straight to putting your hardware in like this, something that's a little bit annoying, for some people it doesn't matter, some people it bugs the crap out of them. When you tighten up your hardware with all this excess grip, it's gonna bunch up around the edge of the bolt. So something you can do at this point is just get a drill and pretty much just push it in there and just act like you're drilling. So you're kind of doing that. And now you've eliminated all that excess grip. So when you do put your hardware through, it's not gonna bunch up around the edges as much. So I always do that. So I'm just gonna push away that excess, just for the sake of being neurotic. And that's pretty much it. This board is ready to throw some hardware in and be the new setup. Got that line right there. We got our little grizzly grip dude with our happy hour sticker in the background. Bored out the holes so the grip tape doesn't bunch around the hardware. And we even sanded a little bit in the flick mark. So that is good to go. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see more tips and tricks and skateboard maintenance, ramp maintenance, whatever you want to see, let us know. Write to us in the comments, reach out on Instagram. Just let us know what you want to see. We're here to help. We want everybody to progress and have fun and skate with their friends and do all the things that make us happy riding a skateboard. So be sure to like and subscribe and be on the lookout for our next video. Thanks.